सो बेटे आज हम करेंगे प्रिपरेशन ऑफ अ कैश बुक. Cash book is a part of your special purpose book, and cash book is broadly divided into two categories. The first one is simple cash book, or you could say single column cash book, and the second one is double column cash book, double column cash book, or you could say cash with bank column. So in this chapter beta we will discuss broadly about single column cash book and a double column cash book. It means cash book is that book in which we record the transactions which are related to only and only cash. So there are some basic concepts to prepare a cash book. When these basic concepts are clear to you, remember one thing, your cash book will be clear to you. So I'm just going to discuss only the basic concept how to prepare a cash book. So this is a format of your cash book. So but this is the format of your single column cash book or a simple cash book. Debit side, there are columns are date, particulars, ledger folio and cash value. In the credit side again the same columns will be there, date, particulars, ledger folio and cash. Because when we are preparing a cash book and we deal only and only in cash book, only and only in cash transaction, so बेटे हमने यहाँ पर सिर्फ कैश ट्रांजेक्शन्स को रिकॉर्ड करना है. तो जितना भी अमाउंट हमारे पास कैश का अवेलेबल होगा हम मैक्सिमम उतना ही अमाउंट स्पेंड कर सकते हैं, उससे ज़्यादा स्पेंड नहीं कर सकते. सो रिमेंबर वन थिंग, व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट अ सिंगल कॉलम कैश बुक और अ सिंपल कैश बुक, द बैलेंस remains always will be the debit balance. So it means maximum how much amount we could spend, only and only the amount which we have, not more than. If we have rupees 20,000 in cash, so maximum we could spend only 20,000. So cash book is when we talk about only a cash is a part of your assets, and assets always have a debit balance. In that one condition we could say in the debit side, when the value of the cash increases in a business, that will be recorded in the debit side, and when the value of the cash reduces, that will be transferred in the credit side itself. So there are two different conditions through the cash book could be started. The first one is, it could be mentioned in your question, started business with cash. So cash will come in a business in the form of capital, so we could write in the debit side as to capital account. On the other hand, or it will be given in the question, the balance of the cash is this one, so we will write here as to balance brought down. Either the value of the capital or the opening value will be given in a question. Now the remaining part of the cash book, when we talk about a single column cash book, जब हम single column cash book की बात करें, it's really very easy and what. So we could say that whatever basically comes in a business in the terms of cash, this will increase the amount of cash balance, and cash has a debit balance, it is a part of the assets, that's why the debit value will be increased. So all the incomes or the receipts will be transferred in your debit side. On the other hand, in the credit side, all the payments will be transferred in the credit side. This is the basic one. Now if I say the simple one thing, salary paid by the firm, it is a payment, so we will write in the credit side as by salary. Commission received by the firm, it is an income or receipts, so to commission. Goods sold by the firm on the basis of cash, so to sales, because cash will be increased. Paid electricity charges, in that one condition by electricity charges. So you could see that this is the easiest one way. In the debit side, due to that one, when the income or the receipts increases, or there is a receipts in the business, that will be transferred in the debit side. On the other hand, when there are the payments, due to that one the cash will be reduced and that value will be transferred in the credit side. So this is the basic and only the basic of the cash book. If this concept is clear to you, remember you could easily prepare your cash book or a single column cash book, or we could say a simple column cash book, or a simple cash book will be prepared by you easily. So now we are just going to move to the another one part of the cash book, that is known as a double column cash book, which is really very important one. So just see, I have just taken a format for that one, double column cash book. Date, particulars, ledger folio. Here we will prepare or make one more column instead of cash with a bank column also. In the credit side also, again date, particulars, ledger folio, date as well as not date. This is a cash and bank. Cash and bank. Now I am taking some very important entries which affect on a double column cash book, and when the students are able to understand these particular 10 entries, remember one thing, you will be able to attempt any of our questions of a cash book, because this is really very easiest way to understand the basics of your cash book, or we could say cash with bank column. So here I am just taking different entries in that one. So the very foremost or very important entry is first one, that is known as a what is a contra entry. First one, this question could be asked in examination in the terms of theory part also. Otherwise in the cash book it is really very important one concept. So contra entry is that entry which affects on cash as well as bank both. It means both the basically accounts will be affected, that is a cash account as well as a bank account also. So this is a contra entry. So there are two different examples of a contra entry. The first one is paid into bank is given, or deposited into bank, sent into bank, or open a bank account. For example, here we are taking a simple example that paid into bank rupees 3000. So what will be the journal entry for that? The entry will be bank account debited to cash account. Bank account debited to cash account. Now when we are taking here, if you see that when we are going to prepare a ledger for bank as well as ledger for cash. So for example, if we prepare only the ledger for a bank, or we are going to prepare only a bank account, first one, just understand the basic of this one, how could it affect on that one, and after then we will discuss how these particular entry will affect on your cash book also. I am just taking a very simple one concept. This is a particulars as well as amount, that is in the terms of rupees. On the other hand, again particulars and amount. For example, we prepare a bank account. So when we prepare a ledger of a bank account, we just have to focus on a bank account. The bank account is debited, that's why the reverse of it, that is a cash will also be debited in the bank account. So we will write in the debit side as to cash account, and the amount will be transferred as 3000. On the other hand, just see one more thing, but if we are going to prepare a cash account now. So when we prepare a cash account, for example, this is a cash account. Now here if you see, we are preparing a cash account, cash is credited, that's why in a cash account bank will also be credited. When we are going to prepare a cash account, cash is credited, that's why in a cash account bank will also be credited. So we will write as here as by bank account, and the amount will be better 3000 rupees. Now, when we club these two particular different accounts in a one particular account or one particular book, that becomes your cash book with a cash and bank column. So just see here, we made as two cash and transfer the amount in a bank column. So same concept we will follow here. Just see, two cash account and the amount will be transferred in a bank column. On the other hand, in a cash account beta, we will write as by bank account and amount will be transferred in a cash column. So by bank account and amount will be transferred in a cash column. Bank account, by bank account and amount will be transferred in a cash column. So just see here, this becomes a contra entry. This is a very foremost or very easiest one contra entry, that is deposited into bank. So first effect will be to cash, it is a contra entry, that's why we will write C in a ledger folio column and the amount will be transferred in a bank account. इसी तरह से बेटे हम क्रेडिट साइड में क्या लिखेंगे, बाय बैंक अकाउंट, बिकॉज इट इज अ कॉन्ट्रा एंट्री, वी विल राइट इन द लेजर फोलियो एस सी एंड द अमाउंट विल बी ट्रांसफर्ड इन अ कैश कॉलम. अगर आप इस चीज को इस पर्टिकुलर बोथ लेजर्स के हिसाब से समझ के चलते हैं, इफ इट इज इजियर फॉर यू टू अंडरस्टैंड द बेसिक थ्रू द लेजर्स, और अगर आप लेजर के अकॉर्डिंगली समझ के चलते हैं, देन ये आपके लिए एक आसान हो जाता है इस कंसेप्ट को समझना. अदरवाइज आई हैव सीन मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम द स्टूडेंट्स आर डूइंग द रटाफिकेशन कि हमने टू कैश करके बैंक में ट्रांसफर करना है और बाय बैंक करके कैश में ट्रांसफर करना है. बेसिकली दे डोंट नो व्हाई वी आर डूइंग दिस. द रीजन इज ड्यू टू दिस पर्टिकुलर लेजर्स, बिकॉज व्हेन वी प्रिपेयर अ लेजर फॉर अ बैंक, we will use a cash and the amount will be transferred in a bank column. When we prepare a cash account, in that one condition we will transfer the amount by bank and the amount always be transferred in a cash account itself. So this is the basic one of a first entry. Now come to the second one of the contra entry. The second is, if in a question it is given bete withdrew from the bank for office use, or simply it is given that withdrew from the bank. So our journal entry will be cash account debited to bank account, cash account debited to bank account. So just see here, how could we transfer this value? The first one, when we prepare a cash account, so cash is debited, that's why beta in a cash account bank will always be debited. So we will write as to bank account, this is the second one entry, to bank account and the value will be your 10,000. So what will be the effect on your cash book? We will write in the cash book, just see, to bank account and the amount will be transferred in a cash column. Same as it is, when we prepare a bank account, bank is credited, that's why in a bank account cash will also be credited with the same amount. So when we are going to prepare a bank account, we will write as by cash account and the amount will be transferred in a bank column. So just see, the same concept we will use by cash account and amount will be transferred in a bank column. Again just check it out. Again I am just explaining the same thing, that the contra entry is that entry which affect both cash and bank column. The first entry of the contra entry is deposited into bank, for example. So the journal entry is bank account debit to cash account. When we will prepare the cash book, then in that one condition we will write as to cash, it is a contra, write C and the amount will be transferred in a bank column. On the other hand bete, by bank account it is a contra 1 C and amount will be transferred in a cash column. सेम इसी तरह से बेटे जब हम बात करते हैं सेकंड कॉन्ट्रा एंट्री की, दैट इज विड्यू फ्रॉम द बैंक फ्रॉम फॉर ऑफिस यूज या विड्यू फ्रॉम द बैंक, in that condition the journal entry is cash account debit to bank account. इस कंडीशन में बेटे हम क्या लिखेंगे, फर्स्ट वन टू बैंक and amount will be transferred in a cash column. On the other hand, by cash and amount will be transferred in a bank column also. So this is the basic one of your contra entry. Now there are few more journal entries or few more transactions are there which affects on the cash book also. So the remaining 8 more entries or 9 more entries are there, if these particular 9 entries, remaining 9 entries are clear to you, remember one thing, the basic of the cash book will be clear to you, and after then you just have to do a practice for that only. So but then the next entry is a check received from Ram rupees 2000. Now when we received a check from Ram, the journal entry will be your check in hand account debit to Ram account. This entry will not affect on a cash book because cash and bank both are not used here. We just received a check, so initially it is a hard won copy of a check we have received. Till now we have not deposited into bank, so it will be shown only and only in a journal. So the journal entry will be check in hand account debited to Ram's account. Now the third one entry is Ram's check is deposited into the bank. So Ram's checks basically which we have received, now we have deposited into the bank, so it will affect on your cash book. So the third entry will be yours check in hand and amount will be transferred in a bank column, because when you will prepare the journal entry for deposited a check into the bank, it becomes as bank account debit to check in hand. Due to that one, the bank column will be increased due to receiving a check, so we will transfer the amount, transfer the check into a bank. So it will affect only and only on your cash book. We will transfer this value in the debit side as to check in hand, and the value will be transferred in a bank column itself. Now the fourth one. The fourth is states that Ram's checks became dishonored or cancelled due to any technical reasons. If the amount is wrong, might be the signs are wrong, might be the date is wrong, might be there is a zigzag on the check. Due to any of the technical reasons, the Ram's check that we had deposited into the bank became dishonored. In that one condition, the value of the bank value or the bank account will reduce our account, will reduce the balances for it. In that condition, beta, we will transfer this value in the credit side as, just see beta, entry number 4, by Ram's account, or by Ram you could use here, by Ram or by Ram's account, and this amount will be transferred in a bank column. So just see, we had seen the 3 different entries here related to receiving a check, deposited into bank, as well as dishonor of that particular check also. So when we receive simple check, it means check in hand account debit to bank account. When this check is deposited into the bank, this value will be transferred as to check in hand and amount will be transferred in a bank column. At last, when this check became dishonored, we will transfer as in the, or we will write in the credit side as by Ram's account and amount will be transferred in a bank column. Now come to the next entry, that is entry number 5. Now again this entry is related to the previous one entry, but the different aspects or the prospects we will use here. The fifth one is received a check from Hari and deposited same into the bank. Now in this condition, if you see, हमने क्या किया, हमारे पास जो चेक आया था सेम डे या उसी समय हमने बैंक में डिपॉजिट कर दिया. देन उस कंडीशन के अंदर बेटे इसका इफेक्ट हमारा सिर्फ और सिर्फ कैश बुक पे पड़ेगा, एंड वी विल राइट एज टू हरी और टू हरीज अकाउंट एंड अमाउंट विल बी ट्रांसफर्ड इन योर बैंक कॉलम. Now come to the next one, 7th one. This one is again related to the previous one entries. Received a check from Sham rupees 6,000. It will be shown in the journal one. Check in hand account debit to Sham. But now the Sham's check that we have received, we have transferred or endorsed to one of our creditor. So Sham was our debtor from whom we have received the amount, but Mohan is a creditor for us. We have transferring the check to a Mohan. In that one condition, we are just physically transferring the check to a Mohan. That's why it will not affect on your cash book also. We will show it in a journal only. So the journal entry will be Mohan's account debit or Mohan debit to check in hand with the amount of 6,000. So 7th and 8th entry will not 6th and 7th entries basically will not affect on your cash book itself. It will be shown only and only in journal. So now next 3 entries are really very important one. Again, the 8th one is discounted our bills of exchange from bank rupees 4,000 and discounting charges which is taken by the bank rupees 200. So the actual amount of the bill was rupees 4,200. when we had discounted it from the bank took some charges from us, बैंक ने हमसे कुछ चार्जेस लिए उस बिल को डिस्काउंट करवाने के लिए। तो बेटे हमारी यहाँ जर्नल एंट्री क्या हो जाएगी, बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट, डिस्काउंटिंग चार्जेस अकाउंट डेबिट टू बिल रिसीवेबल अकाउंट। इट इज़, ये जो आपको बताया जा रहा है सिर्फ एक समझाने के लिए जर्नल एंट्री लिखिए। आपको एग्जाम्स टाइम के अंदर या जब आप क्वेश्चंस को अटेम्प्ट करते हैं तो इस एंट्री को लिखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। इसका इफेक्ट सिर्फ और सिर्फ कहाँ होगा, द इफेक्ट्स विल बी ऑल शोन ओनली एंड ओनली इन योर कैश बुक। So we will write in the debit side as to bill receivable account and 4,000 will be transferred in a bank column. Now the next is honored our own acceptance. अब हम अपनी एक्सेप्टेंस किसी को दे रहे हैं, अपने क्रेडिटर्स को दे रहे हैं कि हम आपको ये पेमेंट कर देंगे इस बिल के अगेंस्ट। अगर क्वेश्चन में कुछ मेंशन नहीं है कि पेमेंट किस तरह से की जा रही है तो हम कैश मान के चलते हैं, लेकिन अगर क्वेश्चन में गिवन है कि अगर हम चेक के थ्रू पेमेंट कर रहे हैं, इन दैट वन कंडीशन हम अमाउंट कहाँ से डिडक्ट करेंगे, बैंक से। सो अब क्वेश्चन एंट्री नंबर 9 बेटे हमारी क्या कह रही है यहाँ पर, ओनर्ड आवर ओन एक्सेप्टेंस बाय अ चेक और बैंक दैट इज अमाउंटिंग ₹3,000। तो बेटे जब भी हम ओनर्ड आवर ओन एक्सेप्टेंस की बात करते हैं तो इसका सिंपल मीनिंग है बिल्स पेबल की पेमेंट की जा रही है, क्योंकि आपने एक बिल एक्सेप्ट किया था कभी, अब उसको आप पे कर रहे हैं। तो जब आप पे करेंगे देन इट विल बी ट्रांसफर्ड इन द क्रेडिट साइड, दैट इज अ पेमेंट साइड। सो वी विल राइट एज बाय बिल्स पेबल और अमाउंट आ जाएगा बेटे हमारा 3,000। नाउ लास्ट एंट्री जो सी है हमारी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, अब एंट्री नंबर 10, रिमेन्स कैश बैलेंस इन द बिजनेस ₹5,000 एंड रेस्ट डिपॉजिटेड इनटू द बैंक। हम यहाँ पर मान करके चल रहे हैं कि हम अपना कैश के बैलेंस को 5,000 मेंटेन करेंगे। अगर हम कैश बैलेंस 5,000 मेंटेन करेंगे तो क्या इफेक्ट होगा, जरा आप यहाँ पर देखिएगा। सो फर्स्ट वन वी विल राइट एज बाय बैलेंस कैरिड डाउन, इन अ कैश साइड वी विल ट्रांसफर द अमाउंट एज 5,000। नाउ फर्स्ट वन वी विल क्लोज द कैश अकाउंट और कैश साइड, द डेबिट साइड ऑफ द कैश इज 10,000, दिस विल बी ट्रांसफर्ड, सेम अमाउंट विल बी ट्रांसफर्ड इन 10,000। बट बेटे क्वेश्चन में हमें क्या गिवन है, वी हैव टू मेंटेन कैश बैलेंस इन 5,000 और इसके अलावा जो बच जाता है दैट विल बी डिपॉजिटेड इनटू बैंक। सो अब 10,000 बेटे इसमें से अगर हम 5 और 3 8,000 माइनस करें तो डिफरेंस आता है 2,000। तो दिस विल बी योर कॉन्ट्रा एंट्री, क्योंकि हम बैंक में डिपॉजिट कर रहे हैं। तो हम यहाँ पर क्या लिखेंगे बेटे, दिस विल बी बाय बैंक अकाउंट कॉन्ट्रा और रेस्ट ऑफ द अमाउंट इज 2,000। अब इसका सेकंड इफेक्ट क्या पड़ेगा, अगेन दिस विल बी ट्रांसफर्ड इन द डेबिट साइड आल्सो एंड वी विल राइट एज टू कैश अकाउंट कॉन्ट्रा एंड अमाउंट विल बी 2,000। नाउ जस्ट मेक द टोटल ऑफ अ बैंक अकाउंट एंड फाइंड आउट द बैलेंसिंग फिगर फॉर दिस। सो अगर बेटे आपको ये 10 एंट्रीज जो अभी हमने यहाँ डिस्कस किए अगर ये क्लियर है तो आप ये मान करके चलिएगा कि कैश बुक में किसी भी तरह की कोई भी एंट्रीज अगर आपसे पूछी जाती है तो दैट विल बी क्लियर टू यू।